Okay, so we're doing the most expensive, and we're going to apply the array or the algorithm we just did in class. So we're doing the most expensive one. So we assume the most expensive one is in position 1. Then I make my for loop to go through my array. And now I'm going to see if the price at my for loop variable is more than the price at the position I wanted to keep. And if the price at the for loop variable is more than the price of the one I kept, then the position I want to keep must be my for loop variable. So if price I, so remember we said EP is 1, so I compared price 1 with price 1. So they're the same, not bigger. Then it will become price 2, I'm comparing to the price of 1. Then price 3 to the price of 1. Then price 4 of the price of 1. Then we realized, oh, the fourth price was more. So then we take the 4 and we put that into EP. Then we're going to compare, this thing carries on. So price 5, we're comparing now with price 4 because there's a 4 now. Until we get to the end. And then the most expensive. So then our most expensive one is the euro at position EP. So at EP I kept the position of the most expensive price, the highest price. And then at the end I'm just displaying the name at that position. And that's our answer. Just show you an alternative way. It's a little bit longer, but it might be easier to understand. So let me show you the other one. The other route you could have followed. Wait, let's do this. You could have created the variable. We're going to have an integer for our for loop. We want to compare prices, which is a double. So I'm going to call it highest price, which is a double. But I want to display the name. So the highest euro name, which is a string. So then what you can do is, we can now, remember the same way we always do. First step is, we assume the first one is the most expensive. Do you agree? So my highest price is the price at position 1. And then the highest euro name is then obviously the euro at position 1. So I assume the first one has got the highest price and I'm keeping his name. Everybody good? Then what you do, remember we need our for loop to go through everything. So we make our for loop I. Starting at the first one, we want to go to Q. Remember, if you want to go at 2, it's actually better, but I'm going to just leave it for that for now. Then we want to check the prices. So we're going to say if our array of price at position I is more than this highest price. So if my array has got a bigger price than the price that I saved, then I need a begin just, because now it means the highest price must get that price's value. But we can't just keep the price, we have to keep the euro name as well. So our highest euro name must now also just become the euro at that position. And then it just means we're going to display our highest euro name. So this is an alternative solution. Yeah, so if you wanted to add the price, you can just add like a message with your float to string f within the highest price. And then you can do the same here, where you'll then just display the price array at position, expensive position. So as I said, if you want to follow the stop route, it's 100% fine. It's really just remember these two lines. They tend to be forgotten. Okay, so your question could also just ask you for, let's say, the cheapest price. So, variety of ways you can do this, but because we're just looking for the price, let's do that easy one. So, are we going to go through the whole array? Yes, that means we need our I for integer. What do we want to keep? We just want to keep the cheapest price. And price is what data type? Double. So I'm just going to call it cheap, and it's a double. So whenever we want to look for the highest one or lowest one or whatever, what's the first thing we need to do? Initialize. So our cheapest price must just start at price 1. So we assume the first price is the cheapest. But now we want our for loop. To start, you can start at the second one because we assume the first one is the cheapest. Go to Q. Now I want to see if any of the other elements in the array is cheaper. How do I do that? What do I need? An if statement, because we need to compare now. So I want to compare the price in my array at position I to see if that is smaller than the cheapest price. If the price is smaller than the cheapest one, that means the cheapest one should become that price. And that will give me my answer. So now the only thing I need to do is display, so we can just do a show message. Cheapest price, but it's a price, so that means float to string f. We want to display the cheap one. It is a currency. First value always big, small, next one decimal places, and that's it. We set the number of heroes. Remember, we just display Q. That's how many heroes we've got. Heroes in sentence case, we already did that. I think, did I do it with you? Yes, I did it with you, where we just went through the whole thing. We just set the hero and we uppercased the first character and we lowercased everything else. And then you just needed to display again, so you would have had that this normal display. So then you would have just displayed there again. Okay, so if you, the displaying, it depends on what the question asked. So at this stage, I would just always display the name and the price. But if you just had the name, it's fine, because they just asked you to, just the heroes in sentence case. So if you just put the names there, it's fine. Alright, then all the names that starts with a vowel, this one we also did. So it's a display, but only if we upcase the first character. If it was in this section, which is a vowel, then we display that hero. Right, adding a hero. Now remember, I just added today, I added this. It must be a random price for the new item between 50 and 500 Rand. Alright, so let's look at this one. So if I want to add a new hero, what's the first thing I need? Oh, we don't need a variable actually. Oh, no, we don't need a variable. Alright, yes, so we need to ask the user what's the name. So, but we adding a name. So what else do we need to do? We need to add a price also, and what else do we need to do? Increment our Q. Do you agree? We're adding one. So we need to increment our Q. First, I like to do that first. Because if I add 5, I like making Q 6 already. So I can then say hero at Q. So I'm already at the new place. I think if you increment it later, you have to go Q plus 1 there. Alright, that's why I like doing the increment first, then I can save myself a plus 1 2 types. And then Then we do our input box for the hero name. So step 1, you ask for the hero name, and it could be something like Flash. But we also need the price. So our price at Q. But now this time I said it must be a random number. So what do I need beforehand? Randomize. And then what do I type there? Random. What's in the brackets? Between. So between 50 and 500, but I wanted the most correct answer. So let's see. Most probably you're going to make a small mistake, because I'm going to guide you exactly right. Okay, 499. Second. Minus 50. Yeah. Plus 1. And outside plus 50. Plus random. Alright, did all of you have this? Did some of you put 51 there? Alright. Second. Alright, so question, why not 51? So you have to think, what does the plus random do? Okay. It adds a fraction. So if you start at 50, but you add a fraction, you will never get 50. The smallest number you will get because is a 50,01, 50,12, so 50, something, because of the plus random. So the plus random automatically makes it a bit bigger than 50. That's why 50 is good. If you went 51, that means you'll never get a 50.5. And remember, my question was just between 50 and 500. Is 50.5 between those two brackets? Yes. So we actually want that. So that's why the 50 is a better answer. But the highest value, we needed to decrease, because you can't go to 500. Firstly, because you'll get 500, but then we're adding a random as well. So you get actually a 500, something. So even go past the bracket. So 499 plus a fraction will give you anywhere in between, which will be a 499,99. You'll have a nice bracket in between. All right. Then, what else do we need? That you do a display. A what? Yes, all right. Okay, but you needed a display as well. So you could just display your Q and your Q. So, in this case, if you kept it as is, this would have been fine, because every single display I had, I used the float to string F, which did convert to 2 decimal places. But better answer is to round, and especially if the question asks you, make sure or round the number off to 2 decimal places. You have to use the round function. Okay, you have to do that. Then you can't just use this. Remember what I told you about this part here? There's just this displays with 2 decimal places. But in effect, in RAM, it's got all the other decimals. Remember, I showed you with Excel as well how it works. So the better answer would be to quickly go around it. So let's just say our price Q must then be round of our price Q. But if I do this, you agree this will round it to a whole number. So if I want 2 decimals, what do I need? So inside the brackets times 100, outside the brackets divide by 100. Alright, then removing a hero. So removing, alright, let's do our default one. You wanted to remove one. So what is the format for a remove again? 4E4. So there's 2 for loops. So we need our I and J. We like fish. So our first for loop, we start at the first one, we go to Q because it's to look for. But what do we need to do before that? We need to ask the user which one he wants to delete. So let's have a search here, type string, so that we can have our search and have our input box. So which one do you want to delete? Then we've got our for loop to go through the whole array. Then inside there we need the if to go look for that particular one. So we want to see if our search one is equal to our hero at place I. We need a begin for this. So once we find the one we want to remove, remember that's the next part, we add another for loop, which is our J. And where does this for loop start? At I. So it starts at the position we want to delete. And where do we want to stop? Right, at Q. We need another begin. Alright, so in this for loop, what do we want to do here? We want to move it all up one. Do you agree? So our hero at J needed to get the value of
there will be a last limit meeting in the 59 at second grade. All soccer coaches and please meet in the sports office in the second floor at second grade. Minus Russia athletics practice this afternoon, starting at 4:03. Then let's take a note that.
Right, let's carry on. Alright, so this is sort of the way that you would have done it so far. All good? The only difference now, once you move the hero name up, you must just move the price also up. So your price J must also become whatever price J plus 1 was. And that's literally all that changes. So we just added our normal delete, we just added that one line.